all of you. Hope I'm audible to everybody. Okay, great. So this is a health insurance webinar that we have gathered for, and I wanted to take all of you through this health insurance webinar where we'll be discussing about small details which you can look at in a health insurance policy, and then some of the some of our misconceptions where we think that health insurance might work for us, but then we would have wrongly guessed it, and then it might not be handy to us. And then there are some points that we need to be very careful about, so that we can really make use of this health insurance. And we'll also be discussing whether the coverage that you have is the right coverage, whether the coverage or the value that you have taken is a proper value, or should you take more, or should you are you already sticking onto the right path. So we'll be discussing all of that, and by end of the session, we'll open for question and answer session where you can ask your questions, and we'll definitely try to provide best answers to you. Yeah, so I think we can get started. And so please, if at all you have any doubts, please note down your doubts, and then you can ask us when there is a Q&A session open, right? Yeah, we'll get started. So health insurance made simple. So finding the right health insurance policy. Uh, First of all, I would like to tell you what a health insurance is. Yes, many of you might already know, and many of you might already been having this for like past 4 5 years or even more, or your parents would have told you to take it. You would be having it for like 20 years already. There are like many cases that you will already be having this health insurance. You will be having from your employer. You will be having from personally from any of the companies that's offering it, and then some of the banks will offer it. You would be having that. But what is really a health insurance? What does it really cover, and what does it not cover? I'll just tell you both now. Health insurance is something that we can make use of in case of any hospitalization. So that's the point I want to make in the first place. Hospitalization. So if what is hospitalization then? Hospitalization is nothing but taking 24 hours of admission. So generally, when doctors ask us to take admission into hospital, then that's called hospitalization, and there we can get treated and take claims in two ways. One is cashless claim, and one is reimbursement claim, right? So what does this health insurance cover? It covers you within the scope of whatever that is required in a hospitalization of at least 24 hours. Okay, but there are like other points as well where 24-hour hospitalization is not required. But then, more importantly or predominantly, it's 24 hours of hospitalization at least, which is considered to be 1 day, right? Next, first is I'll just cover the basic features which you can look at in a health insurance. Definitely, these basic features, although I call it basic features, what I mean basic is that these are basically supposed to be in your policy, because even if a small leak in these, or even if a small compromises in these features might, you know although you would have paid premium, although you might have good coverage or greater coverage, a small leak in these, or small cash, say you're very casual, you didn't look at these policies, or you didn't pay more attention to these points, right? There will be a big leak, or you will have to end up paying from your pocket apart from paying the premium. So that's what I call as basic features, right? So basically, you are supposed to have this in the policy. First is rulement benefit. Rulement benefit means uh, your policy should cover all types of room. What is all types of room? It starts from two people sharing. It's called twin sharing, where two common people, who are strangers to each other, will share the room, right? That's called twin sharing. Second is you have a single standard AC room. Third is you have deluxe room and then suite room and all that. But above all, there is one point which the health insurance company puts in the policy is that, or even the brochure is that, it says 1% of the sum insured. That's the main point you have to be very careful about. 1% or 2%. Say your coverage is 2 lakh, 3 lakh, for example. You have taken a 1 lakh coverage, or 2 lakh coverage, or 3 lakh, or even 5 lakh, right? Let's take 3 lakh, for example. In this case, what happens is that in the policy it says that 1% of the sum insured will be covered as room rent benefit, which means that only 3,000 out of the 3 lakh value will be covered as a per day room rent. Okay, so let's say in India generally, the people go to hospitalization because of emergency purpose only. Not everybody plan their hospitalization. It's mostly emergency only. So what happens is that when I go to hospital and within, I ask for admission, or even the doctor advises me to take an admission, right? My policy will cover only for 3,000 rupees per day room benefit. But the hospital says that that's not available at the moment, or it says that the starting itself is only 5,000 or 6,000 for that matter. So now what happens is that for a 6,000 rupees room rent, which is allowed in the hospital as a basic feature, my policy only allows me only for 3,000. Right? What I would do is that I would say, okay, I'll go into admission because end of the day you wanted to get treated properly. That's what you're concerned about, right? So let's say the person is there in the hospital for 10 days. Okay, and the bill approximately comes to 2 lakh, for example. Now what we think is that room rent I have only opted for 3,000, whereas the hospital gives me 6,000. So for 10 days I will only have to bear 30,000 from my pocket. That's what you will think. But what happens is that whatever bill, right, it is segregated on proportionate or pro rata basis, which means that the bill is total entirely 2 lakh. I will be allowed for claim of only 1 lakh because 6,000 is the room I've opted, but 3,000 is what my policy allows. It's only half of the benefit. So in the entire bill, only half of my value will be allowed as claim. The rest of 1 lakh I'm supposed to pay from my pocket. That's where we are exploited or we are not told properly. So this is one point that we really need to be very careful about. Room rent, what should we opt for is that we should opt for a policy which says no limited room rent, or at least go for single standard AC room. So that's about room rent I want to tell. Second is ambulance benefit. Ambulance expenses, it's segregated in three ways. So ambulance here, it means that road ambulance, and it's segregated in three ways. First is, it says many policy will say that it will cover 3,000 or 5,000 per policy period. That's first thing. Second thing is, it says 3,000 or 5,000 per hospitalization. Third is up to actual value. I'll tell you the three differences. First is 3,000 or 5,000 per policy period, which means that let's say I'm taking 10 hospitalizations because of some illness I'm prone to, or because of some condition, I'm going to hospital and all that. But 10 times I'm visiting hospital, or at least 5 times I'm visiting hospital in that particular year. But in the policy says that I'm only allowed for 5,000 per policy period, which means that it doesn't matter how many times I go to the hospital. They will only cover me for 5,000 in the entire policy period itself. So that's not a good feature. Second is per hospitalization they'll cover only 5,000. This is second category where I can go to hospital and come back, but per hospitalization or per visit to the hospital I will pay only 5,000. That's pretty much okayish, or probably not a great thing, but okayish feature. But then what is a good feature is that at least it should cover you for 10,000 or 15,000 or 20,000. You should look at that value. If not, if you have still confusions that whether this will be enough or not, go for a feature that says up to actual value it covers. That's best benefit, right? So many policies offer this under a lower premium or even a okayish premium, but we have to be careful and we have to have the patience to go and look at these policies and understand these things so that we are not you know uh, let let loose. Third is pre and post hospitalization. So pre and post hospitalization means that let's say I'm getting admitted for dengue or malaria or typhoid for that matter, right? So before going to hospital, let's say 1st of April, I'm getting admitted into a hospital because of typhoid. But before understanding that it is typhoid only, I would have visited doctors, I would have gone to many treatments, I would have taken many blood test scan and all that, right? So that and all I can claim under pre-hospitalization benefit up to 60 days from before the date of hospitalization. So as I told you, I'm getting admitted on 1st of April. So 60 days or 30 days means that 1st of March, 1st of February, from 1st of February till 1st of April, whatever expenses I have made for that typhoid thing, I can get it claimed. It doesn't work on cashless basis. It works on only reimbursement where you have to collect all the bills, keep all the bills with you. And once you're back from the hospital, you can send the originals to you should always take a scan copy with you, and you can send the originals to the insurance company and get it claimed. Same with post hospitalization, where even after discharge for that particular complaint, I'm still not fully recovered. Doctor will ask me to come for review every once in 2 weeks, or every once in every week. So although for at least 1 or 2 months, till I'm back on my foot completely, right? So in those cases, up to 60 days or up to 90 days, depending on the policy period, it we can get it claimed again under reimbursement basis. So pre and post hospitalization is basically you know uh, the expenses that I'm making after my hospitalization or before my hospitalization for that particular company. That's called pre and post. Generally, whichever policy that offers you somewhere between 60 to 90 days is a good policy. Some policy offers you 60 to 180 days and all. So you can segregate it that way. Next is daycare procedure. So this is also one of the important features, which is earlier and all, uh, every hospitalization is mandatory required to be hospitalized for at least 24 hours. But then, due to advancement in medical field, there are certain illnesses that can be treated within a daytime. For example, within 4 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours. Like morning, I go to hospital for some surgery, and then evening I'm back at home, or even noon I'm back at home. So that's called daycare procedure. Within that day itself, it's taking care, and then the procedure is done. That's called daycare. Example, cataract. Very well known example is cataract, where I go to hospital and then come back home. So that's daycare. So there are close to 600 to 610 daycare procedures as per IRD list. But then there are some policies that covers only 180, 200, 250 daycare procedures. So we really need to be very careful. We really need to make sure that it covers all in the entire list as per IRDA. So when the policy says that it only covers 400 or 350 or even 180, which is a very low daycare procedure, right? So we should be very careful that, and we should understand that this is important, and you should ask for a policy which covers entire daycare list. That's very important because you don't have to miss out again, which means that you will be missing claim for that entire complaint. That's a problem. Next is pre-existing waiting period. Pre-existing waiting period means I have some complaint, I have been taking treatment, uh, like diabetes or BP or asthma or cholesterol. That's one thing. Or I have taken surgery in the past and I'm still taking treatment for that. Or there are like certain congenital diseases. Congenital means which is right from a birth. I have some vitamin deficiency or some condition for which I'm advised by the doctor to take treatment for life. So that those all will come under pre-existing waiting period. So now pre-existing waiting period means that for this particular treatment, let's say I have diabetes or BP, the insurance company will impose a condition that first 2 years or 3 years the policy will not cover me. So that's the condition. So generally, the average is 3 years because many policies says 4 years, many policies says 2 years. So average is 3 years. But if any policy offers you 2 years waiting period for that pre-existing condition, go for it. Or if any policy says that they will cover right from the 31st day of taking the policy, it's because say today is 30th September, today I'm opting a policy. They promise me that after October, after that is from 1st of November, they will cover me even for the pre-existing condition. Then you can go for that policy. The premium generally in the last category policy will be pretty much high, but then if you really want to get covered, then yes, this is also an option that you can look for. But generally, it's between 2 to 4 years. You can go for a policy that says pre-existing within is 2 years. Next is co-payment. So co-payment is a condition where you agree to the insurance company that you will bear a certain percent of the claim every time that you make a claim. For example, in the policy, it will say that 10% of the claim or 20% of the claim will be you should bear it. So that's the condition they will say. So the problem here is that it's not for that one specific condition. It's for the entire condition or whatever diseases I'm going to get in the future or whatever illnesses I'm going to be hospitalized in the future. I will have to bear 20%, 30%, or 10% in my claim. There are some policies that says 50% also, right? So which is not a great or which is actually very bad feature. You should be very careful about this. But then generally, where are the areas I'll be offer this co-payment is that if I take a policy for a senior citizen who's 61, 62, that's one case. The insurance company will say that they will only cover 10%. I'm sorry, we will have to pay 10% of the claim. There is a second category where it says because after some companies don't offer health insurance for senior citizens beyond 65. So if you really want to cover after 65, then this company will come, this condition is imposed where I will have to pay 30%, thereafter for every claim. And then there is special category where if I have some medical condition, even although I'm not senior citizen, if I have some medical condition, then very rare cases, the insurance company will impose a co-payment. Although I'm young or although I'm only 40s, 50s, they will impose that I will have to pay 20%. The percentage may vary depending on the risk we are bearing, but then those are the cases where co-payment is generally there. So go for a policy which doesn't have co-payment. The premiums without a co-payment policy will be definitely high for a senior citizen. But imagine just because we want to cut short the premium or have a lesser premium, don't go for a co-payment, because go for a policy which offers no co-payment, so that imagine paying for every claim which the insurance company is supposed to pay. We are also paying. So that's not a good thing to do. Next is no claim bonus. No claim bonus, I think most of you would have guessed it. So no claim bonus is, I am not, first, let's say I take a 10 lakh policy, and first year I'm not taking a claim because I'm hale and healthy. The insurance company, just to boost me, they will give a bonus to me. It can be 10%, 20%, or 50%. Okay, so this no claim bonus will be added to my sum insured, and when there is a claim, I can make use of this bonus which is provided additional to me on and above the basic sum insured of 10 lakhs. So this no claim bonus has the capacity to go up to another 100%, which is, I have 10 lakh policy, it can become 20 lakh policy as per my action of claiming or not. So that's one thing. And there are certain policies which offer 300 to 300% of no claim bonus and all, but then we should really look at whether that's required or not. End of the day, over insuring is also not a great thing, and under insure is definitely not a great thing. So no claim bonus is something that you don't have to be literally have a check on this, but then you can also be aware that this is there the policy, and when there is a requirement, I can make use of it. That's the attitude you can have on this. Next is restoration benefit. Restoration benefit means that excuse me. So restoration benefit means that let's say I take a 10 lakh policy, and then or probably 5 lakh policy, and then I make a claim. So what happens is that the health insurance will restore me with another 5 lakh, but under two conditions. The first condition is that the first claim for 5 lakh which I made, right, that should not be in a single claim or in a single hospitalization. Single hospitalization means that per visit to a hospital. One visit to a hospital means one single claim. So this has to be at least two claims. It can be for same company or different company, doesn't matter, or at least different people in the policy, doesn't matter. But then one person, or at least it should not be done as a single claim. Then the insurance company won't restore me, because they will feel there is a high risk that every time I go to a hospital, I will exhaust 5 lakh. So that's why they won't give it. Second condition is that the new restored 5 lakh, right, that will not be given for the same illness which I previously used to claim it. So now there are like two things to understand. One is, let's say I am there in the policy because I'm not married. I have my parents covered in a separate policy and all that. And this is an example. I'm talking about myself here, where I have only health insurance for myself. Now the problem is, I will not get claim for the same illness which I previously used. Let's say I took an example of typhoid, right? I'll take the same example where I can't, with the second restored amount, I'll not be able to use it for typhoid. But then say this is a family photo where I have my wife, my kids, and even my parents in the policy. Then what happens is that whoever, let's take an example of 10 lakh, where with my family, whoever has opted for typhoid, or whoever has been a part of exhausting that first 10 lakh, right? It can be for different illness. Those people cannot claim for the same illness in the second restored amount. That's one thing to be very clear about. Second is that there are some companies that offer restoration benefit for same and different illness. Go for those policies where they will offer same and different illness, and then this condition won't be there. We won't have any barrier, and the premium difference are very big, very small difference. So that if the company offers you same and different illness category, right, then go for it. That's the best thing to do. And then you'll also have no claim bonus. So put together, you'll have a good value to cover about for the family. So that's about restoration benefit. So this restoration benefit is something that's actually a big topic to discuss, which we are trying to cover in the next webinars. So yeah. Next is premium features. Premium features, as in, like, it doesn't affect the policy that much whether I have this feature or not. But to opt these features, I have to pay extra premium. That's the point I'm trying to make here by saying it as a premium feature. First is consumables. Consumable means that cotton syringe band-aid won't be covered in a health insurance generally. So those are the petty expenses which will not be covered. So now we have to we have to know whether we want it in the policy. If you want consumables, you can pay some extra premium and get it covered. And this is one thing I want to tell. Next is outpatient treatment. I think we all know this, where I have, because of fever or something, sudden rise in temperature, I go to hospital. I'm sorry, go to clinic and I get an injection or something. Then that will come under OPD. So these are some things I can keep adding in my policy if I want or not. Generally, this is not suggested because you will pay a little higher premium than what is required. So that's one thing. Third is maternity. Maternity, again, to offer a maternity coverage, you will pay some hefty premium, first thing. And second thing is that it will not cover right from the first year. It will cover only from the third year. Some companies offer you after only third year. So this is one thing that we need not have in the policy. But again, it's if we are able to afford, or if we are able to plan it wisely, then this is something that we can probably choose to go. Air ambulance is something. Yes, air ambulance means that say I'm in a remote area somewhere in north, or some place where I don't have proper roads or anything, then I can probably choose this air ambulance benefit uh, where the normal ambulance is not able to reach me. I can make use of this air ambulance benefit. That's one thing. And then international coverage is something where health insurance generally covers only in India. We have to be very clear about that. But then international coverage means that for some specific illness or condition where the doctor says that you will have to take treatment, or I give you the option to take treatment outside India also, then only in that case you can go international, and then you can get the coverage there. So where the insurance company will talk to that hospital which you have chosen, and then they'll try to match the claim and all that. So this is international coverage, but generally this is also not suggested. Instead, you can opt for a travel insurance as and when you travel. That's one of the best things to do, because the premium is going to be very cheaper, but the coverage that you're going to get out of it is a really good coverage. So instead of going for international coverage, I would definitely suggest travelers, or someone who's often onto a business trip, to take a travel insurance. That's a very important thing. And then modern treatments. Uh, this is not something you will pay extra premium, but then some policy have this condition that modern treatments like robotic surgeries, or there are like many others, where we'll be treated. So this is some recent inclusion in the health insurance, which if required we can probably opt for, or if it is already there in the policy, then we can make use of it. But it always comes with a sublimit. Sublimit means that per surgery, the health insurance company will bear only a certain amount, and you will have to bear the rest of the amount. That's called modern treatment. But I think in the coming days it will be made available as a it will be made fully accessible to everybody in the normal policy itself, at least in the next 3 to 5 years. Next is mental illness coverage. So this is something that's been included by IRD in the last 3 years, if I'm not wrong. And then this means that, excuse me. So this means that, let's say I have, so that is because of some problem, uh, I'm supposed to treat for mental illness as well. So the hospital would not give me, I'm sorry, the health insurance company would not give me for the entire coverage, but then they will give me something like a where I can go for. They'll not give me for rehabilitation or something like that, but they will give me only for a particular treatment. So this is not very clear, and many companies have not brought in this feature, because even they are not very clear as to what should be covered and what not to be covered. But then this is something that's available and that can be available in the future. That's one thing. Next in common ideologies. So I think you'll be getting a poll. Request each one of you to answer this, to understand where we are standing in terms of our ideology, with regards to health insurance. So request you to fill it. So if you're done with this poll, then I'll just go for the next one. So this ideology is that I do not have health, I don't need health insurance, I'm healthy. So the point is that The problem is that we are supposed to take health insurance when we are healthy only, because only then when we are not healthy the insurance company will cover that. Say there is there is problem, I'm unhealthy or I have some condition, medical condition, or my family history, then the health insurance will hesitate to give me health insurance because it will come under pre-existing health condition, and the day we need the health insurance that may not come handy. So it's better to take health insurance we are healthy, young and fit. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Second, request you to answer this question. I hope the poll will have come to you. Okay, so I'll just cover this. Room rent capping is 1% of sum insured and it does not affect the policy. I think I told you this point. It will affect your policy, so it is better to not have a room rent capping. Next is I have multiple health insurance policies and that should take care of my cashless claim. So here the point I'm trying to make here is, let's say within my office I have 5 lakhs and outside of my office I have another 5 lakhs. The problem is that we believe so that our policy is basically 10 lakhs put together, and then for any hospitalization within 10 lakhs, the entire health insurance should, the health insurance should take care of the entire claim. But the problem is that only one health insurance will work as a cashless. The other health insurance will only as a work as a reimbursement option. So the problem is that for the first 5 lakh, I'll get the entire coverage. But if there is, as we discussed in the previous slides, if there is any small leak, but even then it will not cover. Even then, I mean, in that case it will not cover the entire 5 lakhs. But then let's assume that it will cover that 5 lakh. The second 5 lakh, right, which I'm using personally or from my office, I can only pay the bill and get only the reimbursement. So that many people would not know here, I believe. But if that is something that's how you are having, then I request you to kindly, upgrade your health insurance policy, because 5 lakh from office and 5 lakh as a personal coverage would not be sufficient as I go for a claim, because as I told you, only the first policy will cover cashless. The second policy will cover only as a reimbursement basis. And the problem is, as I told you, we will have to pay the bill and we might not have the cash. So we will have to use credit card or take a loan or get it from go for debt, all the options, personal loan and all that options, which is end of the day basically shelling out from my savings or going for a bad loan or something. So that's one thing to be very careful about. Next is I have base policy of 5 lakhs sufficiently and preferring to take a top up. Again, here it's pretty much connected to the previous point, because I have base policy of 5 lakhs sufficiently. We believe it's very sufficient. So we say it's sufficiently. I have 5 lakhs and then preferring to take top up. But the problem is, uh, as I told you, only the first 5 lakhs you can get it as cashless. So let's say the bill goes to 7 lakh in the first hospitalization, 5 lakh you can entirely get it. But then the other 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs you will have to pay from your pocket and get a reimbursement. And getting a reimbursement is a tedious process because it takes 30 to 40 days. So generally, and they'll ask for follow-up questions, follow-up bills and all that, which we might lose patience to get to details and get a claim. So When you take a base policy, take at least for 10 to 15 lakhs. Have a strong foundation. And then anything extra or anything above that, when you're comfortably seated, anything above that, go for a top up. That's the point I'm trying to make. So that you're not compromising on your health insurance. You're not compromising on your top up. At the same time, when there's a claim, it takes care of everything. Yes. Yeah. So now my colleague Archana will take over, and from here she will explain what are the intricacies, what are the points that we can make use of, while considering a health insurance.
Thank you, Swagat. Yeah, good morning, all. Um, so now we are going to see the difference between Mediclaim and health. So we all heard from our parents or even from our grandparents that they have a Mediclaim policy. And so what is Mediclaim? Just have a look. We'll have a look at it. So when it was 1986, the Indian government launched Mediclaim. So with a minimum coverage of 50,000 and a maximum coverage of 5 lakhs. So considering this pricing across the health sector during those times, the coverage was adequate. So the aim was basically to provide financial backup during an individual's time of medical emergency, right? So you can even you have heard about these names: Oriental Mediclaim Policy, New India Assurance Mediclaim. So that Mediclaim is basically you are getting claim for the medical expenses that you have done. So this is what basically covered in a Mediclaim policy, a normal Mediclaim policy. So when it comes to the medical world, the phrase old is gold, doesn't stick. So this concept applies to Mediclaim as well. So if we are just looking to cover hospitalization, then Mediclaim is the option you can go for because you can see the difference between Mediclaim and a health. So here, inpatient treatment, in case of inpatient treatment, in Mediclaim, it provides coverage only for hospitalization and accident-related treatments. And Swagat already explained what is hospitalization. So basically, if you're getting admitted in the hospital and you stays in hospital more than 24 hours, so that comes under hospitalization and accident-related treatment, and which is not very comprehensive. So we also need to look into the expenses that are related to pre and post hospitalization and annual health checkup, alternative treatments, all that has to be in place. And the second point is no add-on coverage. So when it comes to Mediclaim, it does not provide any add-on coverage. The premium features that Swagat has discussed about. So we have critical illness cover, maternity benefit, OPD, and all that. So which is not covered in case of Mediclaim. And in a comprehensive health insurance policies, nowadays all the private providers are, providing these add-on coverages. And then comes to hospitalization. So for a minimum of 24 hours, the insured needs to be hospitalized in case of Mediclaim. But in case of an health insurance, there need not be the insured person has to be hospitalized, but the benefits like daycare procedures can be availed without getting hospitalization. So in the fourth major difference is ambulance is also not covered in Mediclaim, wherein in health insurance, it also covers the ambulance charges. So what we want to talk here is basically if you are looking for just to cover a hospitalization expense, then Mediclaim health insurance means it works, it will come handy. But now in the fast moving world, now when we are looking at the medical inflation and all that, just going with the Mediclaim health insurance basically means that you will be losing out on a plethora of lucrative perks that will come in handy when you go for an health insurance. So we suggest basically to go for an health insurance than a Mediclaim policy. So hope you know the difference between Mediclaim and an health insurance policy. And now I want you people to answer this poll to move further. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for answering the question. So, from the data you people have submitted, we can see that nearly 75% of people already have an individual or family floater policy other than the employer cover. It's very healthy and we are very happy. So, we all have a doubt that whether this company sponsored cover is sufficient or not. So we before that, before you know, to conclude anything on this, let's understand what are all the problems or what are all the things we need to look at when it is an employer provided cover only. So it lasts only till you are employed. We know all that, right? So when we move from one job to another job, that point, this employer provided cover will stop. So that the coverage is limited to employees only. And in some of the companies or in most of the companies, maybe the employee only will get the benefit out of the cover and not the whole family, like your mother, your father, or your spouse may not be included in the policy. And that will be an issue. And it's a perk and not a right to employees, which means it is just an add-on or an additional benefit that you get that you may get out of your job, but it's not a right for an employer to provide you an insurance policy. And better to have it as a backup cover, which means that you should definitely have an individual or family floater other than your employer cover. This should be used as a backup cover. Why so let's take in case of employee insurance policy. They also cover maternity related expenses and maybe other expenses associated with the newborns. So if you have parents that need protection, and in maybe in retail policy you may not be covered with many of the maybe you have a waiting period 2 or 3 years you have to wait. But in employee insurance policy, on the other hand, this may extend protection to your parents despite their old age. So there are advantages in your employer provided coverage, but there comes the disadvantages, like the coverage may be insufficient because most employee insurance policy offer coverage up to 5 lakhs only. So this kind of protection may be insufficient, especially considering you may have your parents included in the plan, and less comprehensive. So some employers tie up with the insurance company, to create a subpar product that costs less. So this is usually due to the fact that their incentives aren't always lined up with those of their employees. So it is always makes to read your policy document one more time in a bit to confirm what's covered or what's not. And you are always at the mercy of your employer. So your employee insurance plan will be active so long you are employed, right? So once you quit, you will be booted out of the group plan. So in this case, we definitely need another plan, to take care of our out of pocket expenses or unexpected medical expenses. So we also know, right? So the employer puts up the premium after accounting for it within the CTC. So maybe that it can be expensive also. So these are all the points we need to consider before going before believing that our employer provided cover is sufficient. So solely, this is what I have discussed in the last slide also. So basically, health in this kind of employer provided insurance alone can be challenging for senior citizen. You cannot solely rely on these employer insurance. And only a senior citizen policy will be offered, and there will be too many exclusions and conditions of copay also. So, and in case of medical emergency, you can't dip into your savings, and that's why you need a medical insurance in the first place. And the last point is moving from a group to individual policy with PED is not will not be possible in future. So these are all the points we need to consider. So then, how must have insurance coverage. So so right coverage depends on the following factor. The first one is current age. So age plays an important role while going for an health insurance. And when it comes to health condition, self and family, we also need to look into the health conditions that you and your family is going through, like whether you had hospitalized before, if you had any surgeries before, if your family members had any surgeries before. So while taking the policy, you have to disclose all this information, and then you have to take the policy. And third comes the medical history. So medical history, for example, let's take a person is going to take a family floater, and assume that his parents had cancer or any other diseases, congenital diseases, all that. So in that case, there is a possibility of you not getting the policy because of the medical history. So which needs to be disclosed and which needs to be considered while taking a right coverage for you. And the next one is requirement and affordability. So in case of requirement and affordability, so we may feel or we think that I need 50 lakhs coverage, or I need me and my family needs 25 lakhs coverage, all that. So that is a requirement. But how, like, can we be able to afford it, considering the premium? So that is a question. Coverage has to be a midpoint or a equilibrium point wherein this your requirement and affordability meets. So wherein your that's where your insurance advisor or your insurance specialist comes to a play. So wherein they can help you, how much coverage is required and adequate for you, and which is also affordable, wherein they can provide you with a lot of options, and they can also get you through the policy the policy features, so that you are not missed out. And the final one is type of hospitals preferred. So before getting a coverage, definitely you need to look into the hospitals in your area, whether all the things are available there, and what are all the hospitals there. If you also looking for Siddha Unani kind of Ayush hospitals, whether the government registered Ayush hospitals are or located in your place. So these are all what are the type of hospitals there. And even in case if you are looking for just a private room or deluxe room, so this kind of available rooms, these are we need to check before getting a right coverage. So this slide takes you through age-wise minimum coverage that can be taken, that we are generally suggesting. So until 30, it's a range of 7.5 lakhs to 10 lakhs. And well, 31 to 45, it's 10 to 15 lakhs. And 45 to 60, it's 20 lakhs. And above 60, it's the range of 25 lakhs. So here whether you are an individual or a family floater, the premium difference will not going to be there. It's not going to be that much. So what we need to consider is when we are young, when we are healthy and when we are young, if we take a right insurance policy with right coverage, then that can help you when when there is a need, when there is emergency, so that you are as Swagat already explained, that we have waiting period, we have pre-existing waiting period, and we have specific illness waiting period in all the policies. So wherein these all need to be considered. So for that, definitely we should have a right coverage at right time. So for until 30, then it's range of 7.5 lakhs to 10 lakhs, and these can be your base coverage. Along with above this is welcome, like it's not an issue, you can have a coverage above this also. Maybe you can go for a top up or super top up above this, but the base should be at least 10 to 15 lakhs of your can be a good coverage. So now, choosing a right policy, there are certain features we need to have, like we need to have in a policy to define it as a good policy. So basically, these are all the features that Swagat already explained. So I'll just, given a point like what we need to look on in a policy document or policy features or policy brochure before we are going to take a particular policy. So in case of pre-existing conditions, good policy is the one wherein pre-existing conditions, after a waiting period, the pre-existing conditions should be covered. So in case of exclusions, go for the policy which has fewer or no exclusion. So in case of waiting period, shorter waiting periods are better. So basically waiting period can be 2 years or 3 years. Shorter the waiting period, you have you are covered in much more faster way. So shorter waiting periods are better. And renewability, pick options only with lifetime renewability, as it is harder to get a good policy as you age. So it's better to take a policy with a lifetime renewability. And co-payment, lower or no co-payment is better. So as you pay nothing out of your pocket. And coverage, in case of coverage, sum assured will cover your health insurance needs. So for this, you need to you can consult a professional. As I said, adequate amount or adequate coverage can be chosen. Like basically the trade-off between the affordability and requirement, that can be you can come to a conclusion with the help of the uh, a professional or an insurance advisor. No claim bonus, higher the no claim bonus, better the policy. So that is the reason Mediclaim is not very helpful, because it doesn't have a no claim bonus, it doesn't have a restoration benefit. However, when you go to any health insurance policy or private providers, we have no claim bonus also, right? And which Swagath explained. So you can go with the policy which has higher no claim bonus and premium also. And we need to understand that a lower premium does not mean it's a better policy. So we need to understand the details when it comes to the policy. It is very important to go through the policy details. The and you may know that the if you go and download it from the official website of any private providers or any health insurance providers in that matter, the health insurance policy comes with a lot of health jargons, right, which is not which will not be very which we may need some help to understand what are all the jargons. So for that, you can definitely consult a an advisor which can who can help you to take a right insurance policy.
Thank you, Archana. So I'll take over from here. Uh, Checklist to buy a health insurance policy. So the first point is choose policy specific to your requirement. So that's very important because there are some details like OPD or a maternity we might not require, but those details can be, or those things can be included in the policy, and that might unnecessarily cost you a higher premium. So be specific, be understand your needs, and then take a health insurance. So whatever you exclude, or, want to exclude, or whatever you prefer should not be there in the policy. Consult with the advisor definitely, but then be specific, and then that will help you have a right health insurance policy. Second is segregate selling and advising. So there's always a big gap or a big difference between selling and advising, because an advisor will tell you, what is right for you. He'll be very, he'll deal it within the boundaries of professionalism. Whereas selling, comes with a, mix of pushing as well, where they push you to take this product, but then advising is telling you only what is right for you. So go to an advisor instead of going to directly to a health insurance company, or one of your friends who can be an agent. So go to someone who's advisor, who's well balanced and who knows stuff, and then take his opinion, and then you can choose to tell your requirements, which is in the first point, and then take the policy, and that will be the right option for you. Next is the devil is in the details. As Archana pointed out, there are many jargons in health insurance, which, or there are like, or to put it in the right way, there are like many misconceptions or misunderstandings in health insurance, and especially there are like certain terms which are very hard to understand. where we lose patience to understand that, and or probably our agent also doesn't tell you all of it, because that will put you to more attention and you might not take the policy. So always go into detail, check what is covered, what is not covered. Ask your advisor, or a person who's telling you to take the policy, why you should take it. And if you feel that yes, you are comfortable taking the policy, go for it. So this is the thing. Uh, so that's about our presentation. So I think we have provided you with some points which are helpful you to segregate some good health insurance policy, and that might suit your requirement. I think we were be you know I think we were able to provide you some light in those areas. So please shoot your questions, and will try to provide you the best answers that we can. The first question I see from Mr. Santosh is that critical illness cover, is it beneficial to take it in term insurance or health insurance? So the first thing is that it's beneficial to take it with term insurance, because the premiums will remain same when you take it with term insurance. So that will act as your advantage, and it will remain same throughout the policy period. Say you're taking term insurance for 30 years, the premium for critical illness will also remain same, and the critical illness coverage is also quite wide, like 30 to 40 illness they cover. So that's one thing to do, and then they go for a on top of that, go for a uh, individual critical illness policy, not with health insurance. With health insurance, it's not suggested. The reason is that you might have only 5 lakh or 10 lakh health insurance, right? And when you take it with a health insurance, your critical illness coverage will also limit to that 10 lakhs only, and that will not be definitely enough. So go with a term insurance and then go for a separate health insurance. I'm sorry, separate critical illness policy, because that will provide you a best combination of covering the minor illness as well as major illness as well. Which means that minor stages of illness will be covered, major stages of illness will also be covered. So that's the option to go. Next is from Mr. Dinesh. For family of three, age 35, 32, and 6, is it better to have individual policy for each or family photo policy? I think 6-year-old kid will not get individual policy. Kindly explain. Yes, you're right. 6-year kid will not get individual policy. So whoever is the proposer or main earning person, or whoever wants to take a health insurance policy, can be the proposer, and the rest of them can be the insured. So what you can do is, no need to go for an individual policy, go for a family floater. But as I told you, don't go for a 5 lakh or 10 lakh coverage. That might not be helpful. Today we are healthy, we don't have the necessity to go to a hospitalization. When there is a situation like COVID, or when there is a situation like something else, right, where all of us are required to go to hospital because of some unfortunate event, then this cover might not be enough. So go for at least 15 or 20 lakhs, and keep upgrading it once in every 3 years, or try to go for a top up policy, but at least have 15 lakh or 20 lakh coverage, because that should put a best foundation to your policy and your financial well-being and your family well-being as well. So go for at least 15 or 20 lakh coverage, and then take a top up, or you can keep upgrading your health insurance as well. You can always work on the cost benefit thing, but this is the basic thing to. Next is, if someone starts the policy either individual or family at the age of 35, how long can we continue the policy, and how about the policy premium each year? Will it increase each year, or as per inflation, or will it increase constant amount for each year? So it differs from company to company. If you don't go for individual policy, because if you have a family, go for a family for itself, and then the premium will not increase every year. It will increase every 5 years, or as per the grid the company follows. For example, uh, certain companies follows like up to 35 years of age, my policy premium will not change. But from 35 to 45, there will be one premium. 46 to 50 will be one premium. 51 to 55 will be one premium. So it changes as per the grid, or as you age, right? So every gap of every 5 years, it will increase, and the increase will be quite substantial. Substantial, as in say, you have 35 now, as you mentioned. For a 10 lakh coverage, the premium will be close to 25 to 30,000 approximately. I'm saying it might be higher also. But when you cross 36, right, or 35, right, when you become 36, the premium will be from 28,000, it might go up to 36,000, and then it will follow the same for next 5 years. So till 40, you'll be paying only 35,000. But then after 41, you'll be paying, instead of paying 35,000, you'll be paying 45,000, right? So as the grid or the band changes, right, there's a transition from 50 to 51. There's a transition in age. So as per that, they increase. And there are like some companies which increases every 5 years, like 5%, 5%, 5%, they increase. So it depends on our convenience. We can work on the cost benefit. We can see which is beneficial for us, and then we can take a call. But most company follows only the age of 5 years or 10 years gap. Next question is, how does the backup policy, for example, the one we have from employer works? Understand it is based on reimbursement. We'll pay for the difference in improvement and remaining amount of the bill that was not covered in the primary policy. Okay, so it doesn't work that way. So backup policy, for one entire bill, right? You'll be able to cover it only from one insurance company, be it your personal insurance company or employer provided insurance company. To close off that bill, you can only claim from one insurance bill. You can't match the difference or you can't match the gap from the second insurer. They won't agree it because it will be called a second claim. So they won't agree to it, or you basically can't get it. That's the point I'm trying to make. So let's say this reimbursement where this difference improvement and all that, right? Let's say your bill is 5 lakh and then you are able to claim only 3 lakh 50. The rest of 1.5 will not be covered from the second policy. It will be covered only from the first policy, and rest you have to only bear. Only the next claim, right? So in health insurance, how it works is that only exhaustion of the full right health insurance, the one policy, you can jump to the other policy. That's how it works. Also, please explain what help we can get from ITOT in the event of hospitalization claim. So what we will try to do is that we'll try to be, supportive. So what we'll 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 try to talk to the insurance company. We'll try to talk to the hospital. We'll try to adjust the gap. As in, like, say, when you're separately doing it yourself, you might you might not be able to, right? So that's why we pitch in and we tell you. Excuse me. That's why we'll pitch in and we'll tell you that no, sir, we can coordinate with the insurance company and we'll tell you what is done to that to be done and all that. So, and in terms of we'll be able to push the insurance company to give the claim little sooner. So we'll definitely pitch in terms of claim. Yeah, so that service we'll provide. If you have if you any more doubts on that, you can probably reach us on the number Archana has provided below, and we can tell you in detail. But definitely, as I told you, we'll be able to help you on that. Cost of reviewing current insurance policy. So we don't charge a review. Say for example, if there are only 5 policies, it can be life insurance, health insurance, or any other insurance for that matter. If you want to review, if it is within 5 lakh, I'm sorry, 5 policies, then we don't charge anything. But beyond that, it depends on the amount of work we put, and we'll have to check and only tell you. But for 5 policies, or we don't charge anything. We can provide free advice to you. I hope that's clear. But even then, you have some more doubts. I think you can contact on the number that we have provided. How can we have data one-on-one discussion? Sure, sure. We can have one-on-one discussion. You can contact us on number that Archana has provided. In case if that's not visible, then I'll ask Ms. Archana to provide it once again. So that shouldn't be a problem. We can have one-on-one discussion. That's sure. Yeah. I am an NRI working outside India, whether it's really required to have health insurance. So it is required to have a health insurance because when you visit India, right, and when there is some unfortunate event of taking hospitalization or some treatment, that time you would require a health insurance because let's say if it is a small amount, then it doesn't matter. But then say you're visiting with family and there is some unfortunate event, for example. Then this health insurance only will be handy. And say, let's say you're 45 now, and you're planning to retire and come down to India, settle with family in another 5 years. Then taking health insurance during that time will be a big challenge because we might have, taken, we might have, we don't know, right? So in future we might have uh, developed some illness because of age or some because of climatic change conditions and all that, changing climates and all that. So we might, you know, attract some illness. So it's better to take when you're healthy and when you're able to take it, right? So you don't have to take for a bigger value like 30 lakhs, 50 lakhs, or something like that. Take for at least 10 lakhs. You're just, it's not like you're paying premium to the insurance company and you're wasting it. It is definitely seen as an investment. It can be seen as an investment where, in case of any future, claim, this can be really supportive to you. So in that sense, it will make a lot of sense to take health insurance now. Just keep adding it as a portfolio. build it up, and then once you're back in India, you can definitely make use of it, and that will come handy to you. So that's the point. Next is from Mr. Saravanan. He has mentioned that age of my father is 66. He already went bypass surgery 13 years back. Recently, heart value is replaced. He's healthy now. Can I get health insurance for him? That might be a question, sir, because once if somebody goes to bypass surgery or even cancer treatment, health insurance company refuses to get a health insurance. But in I think in care health insurance there is one policy where they provide a coverage for someone who has went through a surgery, bypass surgery especially. So you can probably try that. That can be one of the options. If not, then I think the option is closed. What you can do is you can probably create a reserve for him, medical reserve. I understand he's healthy, but then you can probably keep building up a reserve, like probably putting it as SIP or saving, and then that should help you with the in case of any claim that should help you. But you can definitely try this care health insurance where they provide this hard cover. What's the maximum age limit for health insurance? So there are like entry age restrictions, which is beyond 65 you can't take a policy. Beyond 60 they will start imposing certain conditions, and then uh, but once you have taken it, you can have like 100 years renewal. As long as you live, you can keep renewing the policy. So that's Next is which one is best, TPA or direct one? TPA is basically for common people to understand. It's third party administrator. Which one is best, third party administrator or direct one? Mostly we prefer direct one, but then in your policy, if there is a TPA, it doesn't actually matter that much. As long as your coverage is good and as long as your advice is provided, is able to provide you good support and all that, it doesn't matter that much. But then prefer direct one over the TPA. Are you doing porting? Yes, we will do porting. But porting has a condition that you have to start applying 45 days before the due date, and then say if somebody has a pre-existing condition, then porting will be a very challenging one. But yes, we can always try porting the policy. But often porting won't be a good option. But then I mean porting very often will not be a good option. But then yes, once in a while you can port and stick to that company. Yeah. Uh, So to whom contact? I think we have provided that information here. So yeah. Next from Mr. Tamarikanan. If the proposer have pre-existing disease like hydronephrosis disease, kidney headache, okay, then applying for this policy and insurance will get rejected straight away in the proposal itself. So can we take a policy that will not cover for the pre-existing disease but should cover for the other hospital expenses? You can get a policy like that. If yes, then suggest that plan. So this point is quite tricky because they will definitely see the pre-existing conditions and they will definitely try to the insurance company. I'm saying they will definitely try to understand the aftermath of taking the person into the policy. So this is a very tricky question, as I told you, and I'll have to only check and get back to you on this whether they will exclude any other. I mean, they will exclude this illness alone, and they will take only the other hospitalizations. Uh, as of I know, that's not quite possible, but no harm in checking. I can check and tell you if that's possible. Can a non-married person, example, his age is 20, offer a family floater fund? Because after marriage, without hassle, he or she can be able to have a company in the existing policy itself. If the above point is not possible, then he or she should take a new family floater fund. In that case, waiting period and bonus benefit will not be available. Contact. Okay. Okay. So what you can do is you are right, but you can't take a family floater if you're just an individual. Like say 20-year-old person cannot take a family floater because he's only an individual. He's not married yet. So while taking the policy, we will have to provide the details of KYC and all of that family people, right? If it's your parents, then yes, you can do. But if it is going to be your future, person and children and all that, then you can't do it at the moment because you don't have their KYC. That's the first point. But then, as you have mentioned, yeah, you can be probably right about adding the person later, and then the waiting period and all that will be applicable. But that's how it works, sir. So first you have to take an individual policy, keep upgrading it, and then once you are married and all that, having kids, then you can include them in the policy. For them, it won't be a big challenge to face the waiting period and all because Only if they have a waiting, pre-existing condition, this waiting period will be applicable. If not, it's only 31-day waiting period, or say there will be a 2 years waiting period where for cataract, kidney stone, malaria, I'm sorry, migraine, sinusitis, all those common illnesses or age, any illnesses that which can come to any person at any age, those will be applicable. But that shouldn't be a big concern. It doesn't matter that much, sir. So you can add them once they are into the family. If you change the insurance provider in future, then the bonus amount will also be transferred automatically, or only the base insured will be transferred. Okay, only the base insured will be transferred, but the advantage is that say today you have 5 lakh coverage, and then with bonus it has become 10 lakhs. So what you can do is when you transfer your policy, you can directly take a 10 lakh coverage itself, and you will not be required a medical test. Or let me put it this way: you have 15 lakh coverage, and then your bonus is another 10 lakhs. Then you can straight away take a 25 lakhs coverage itself. You will not be asked to take a medical test, or you will not have any condition to be imposed, right? So that's one advantage. And be very sure why you want to transfer. Is it because of the service they provide, or is it because of the policy, or is it because of the communication gap or something? So once you're very clear with all that, then because this bonus shouldn't be a concern, because the new company might have a higher bonus rate, which can help you in the coming years also. So that's one thing to note. One have got the no claim bonus 50% increase from base insurance for the first free claim year. In the second year, the person have hospitalized in the case of claim has been made. So my no claim bonus amount 50% will also be reduced that year, or will it remain same in the policy? Please explain with an example in detail. Sure. So how it works is that say you have a 10 lakh policy, and then 5 lakhs is the bonus you have accumulated. In the second year, the person is claiming, and then what happens is that he'll be able to claim 15 lakhs itself, not 10 lakhs alone. He'll be able to claim 15 lakhs. But then the next year, it depends on the company and the policy, because some company offers you no reduction bonus even though you claim, but some company take off the bonus in the subsequent year. So you can claim up to 15 lakhs, but then in the second year, if the company says that you can't have bonus because last year you claimed, then you can't have bonus. It's only going to 10 lakhs in the second year. But if you feel that, or if the company covers you, or it tells you that there is no reduction bonus although you've claimed, then yes, that bonus will stay there only. I hope I was able to clear you that point. So basically, reduction is the point that you have to see whether the company has imposed or not. If it has not imposed, then that's a great thing. If it has imposed, then we might have to go through it, or probably, do not consider bonus at all as a basic feature. That's why I've put the bonus in. That's why what you can do is bonus is something that's additional, right? So you can keep it as an additional thing, not as a basic thing. Hope I was able to help you with the queries that you had. And in case if you have any further queries, probably you can contact us in the number that we have provided. Uh, my teammate Archana has provided here, so I think we'll be able to definitely have a one-on-one chat, and we'll be able to help you with the details you want. Yeah. So that's it from our end. So we'll be doing webinar every month regularly. So your contribution also makes a lot of difference in our webinar, and will definitely be a part in supporting you.
Also, we just want to inform you that we'll be regularly posting on social media every Tuesday and Thursday an awareness video, a conversational type of video about insurance. Please follow us on that and support us. And we will also come up with a lot of webinars and an informative webinar, and we are glad that we could help you.
Just one more point to add, Archana. So, as Ashna told us, we'll be doing webinars very regularly. We'll be doing videos also very regularly, and you please subscribe to us. And then you can also post your comment, or you can also post your question there. We'll try to offer a solution there. And then by end of the video, what we'll be doing is that we'll be also taking polls, or we'll be taking we'll be keeping questionnaires in the video by end of the video as an action point from your end. If you're able to fill or anything, then we'll try to reach you. We'll try to tell you how difference we can make in the policy, or what is it we already have is good or bad. We'll try to definitely provide a valuable conversation. I'm sorry, contribution, and then we'll also try to provide you the solution, right? And I think that should help all of us together. And really, thank you for joining. In spite of your weekend, that makes a lot of difference in our efforts as well. Thanks.